Why Rolls-Royce is the best. Why is Rolls-Royce the best? Why is Rolls-Royce the most expensive? Why is Rolls-Royce the most luxurious cars in the world? Today we'll find out how two men, with vastly different backgrounds, created the most prestigious motor car company in the world. We'll also find out what strategy they used to remain on top. 1904 to 1920, the beginning. The co-founders of Rolls-Royce are Charles Stuart Rolls and Sir Frederick Henry Royce. They both participated in the formation of Rolls-Royce in 1904, together with Claude Goodman Johnson, who served as the organization's first managing director upon its incorporation in 1906. Their love of automobiles and engineering prowess fueled the company's rise to the top. Henry Royce was a poor boy made good. He was the youngest of 5 children. His parents ran a flour mill that eventually went bankrupt in 1867. His father died in 1872, when little Henry was only 9 years old. He worked incredibly hard and became a highly skilled electrical and mechanical engineer. In 1884, when Royce founded a mechanical and electrical company in Manchester, the seed for Rolls-Royce was planted. He initially produced cranes and dynamos. Later, he understood the incredible market potential of the motor car. Royce would become a leading designer for automotive engines. In 1904, he built a 2-cylinder Royce 10 in his Manchester factory. On May 4 of the same year, he met Charles Stuart Rolls at the Midland Hotel in Manchester while attending an automobile club. Unlike Henry Royce, Charles Rolls had a privileged upbringing. Like Royce, Rolls was also the youngest child, but his parents were the first Baron and Lady Langatok. Rolls obtained his mechanical engineering degree from Trinity College at Cambridge University in 1898 and found employment with several businesses. He then began importing and selling cars by starting C.S. Rolls & Co. in Fulham. Rolls was impressed by the Royce 10, even though he preferred bigger engines. He agreed to sell all the vehicles Royce could produce. 4 models would be available from 2 to 6-cylinder engines, ranging from 10 to 30 horsepower. On December 23, 1904, during the Paris Motor Show, the Rolls-Royce name and their first automobile, the Rolls-Royce 10 horsepower, were unveiled. In this early stage of the automotive industry, most cars were made for the very rich because they were the only ones who could afford these expensive luxury toys. However, the industry continued to grow and innovate with technological breakthroughs and productivity enhancements, such as the American System of Manufacture, which emphasized standardization and interchangeability of parts, and the assembly line, which was developed by Henry Ford. As productivity increased and prices came down, automobiles became more affordable. Ford introduced his Model T just 4 years after the Rolls-Royce 10. The Model T would become the best-selling car in the world. By 1926, the Ford Motor Company controlled half of the world's automobile market, and Henry Ford was one of the richest men in the world. Other car makers saw Ford's success and tried to follow in his footsteps. General Motors would later adopt a brand segmentation strategy and offer a line of models targeted to different price segments. GM's Chevrolet division was aimed at the entry segment, while its most prestigious division, Cadillac, targeted the luxury market. One company that didn't was Rolls-Royce. It instead maintained its focus on making the highest quality cars on the market. On March 15, 1906, Rolls-Royce Limited was established to raise cash to build a new factory. They chose a 12.7-acre site in Derby's southern outskirts after Derby's council agreed to provide inexpensive energy. On December 6, 1906, £100,000 in new shares were made available to the general public in order to raise the additional funds needed for the investment in the new firm. C.S. Rolls & Co. was bought out by Rolls-Royce in 1907. Production started in the early months of 1908 at the new plant, which was mostly planned by Royce. A better 6-cylinder vehicle with more power than the Rolls-Royce 30 horsepower was being developed by Royce in 1906. Its original name was the 4050 horsepower, and it was the company's first completely original model. This vehicle was more than just a comfortable means of transportation. It also had quiet luxury and potent acceleration. Royce and the other directors were persuaded in March 1908 by Claude Johnson, the commercial managing director, sometimes referred to as the hyphen in Rolls-Royce, that the company should focus only on the new model and all previous versions were subsequently retired. Johnson is credited with building Rolls-Royce's global brand and reputation. This 4050 model housed a distinctive, more powerful six-cylinder engine. Within a year of its market debut, the automobile was recognized as the greatest in the world. The vehicle was later known as the Silver Ghost after the 1925 release of the Phantom model. With almost 6,000 constructed, the new 4050 was the source of the company's early reputation. Although Rolls-Royce was not the first motor car maker in the world, it was an early mover, and it had finally captured the top spot in terms of quality with the 4050. It would never look back. Although the top of market was prestigious, it was not the most lucrative as shown by Henry Ford's success. Nevertheless, Rolls-Royce continued to focus on what they did best over the next century, making the best cars in the world. By concentrating all the company's efforts on the highest quality automobiles, it never allowed a competitor to catch up. Following Charles Rolls' passing in 1910, Henry Royce and Claude Johnson led the business forward. They kept releasing new car types, and in 1914 Rolls-Royce began producing both civil and military aviation engines, which helped it become a major success. 1920 to 1944 continued success with additional models. In order to satisfy demand, the business established a second factory in Springfield, Massachusetts in the United States in 1921. This plant ran for 10 years until it was shut down in 1931 at the dawn of the Great Depression. During that time, 1,701 Springfield Ghosts were produced. The business essentially ended its one-model approach when it released the smaller, less expensive 20 in 1922 in response to declining sales of the 4050. The Rolls-Royce Phantom, introduced in 1925, succeeded the popular Silver Ghost model series. A pushrod overhead valve engine that could generate 50 horsepower was used in the new Phantom model series. Due to the enormous popularity of this model series, Phantom II was introduced in 1929. The main factor in their success, aside from the engine, was customization. Rolls-Royce's coach builders offered a variety of body styles and interior choices to customers, including a convertible sedan. Following Bentley's failure to maintain its financial stability at the start of the Great Depression, Rolls-Royce purchased the much smaller competitor automaker in 1931. Except for the radiator grille and other minor characteristics, ordinary Bentley and Rolls-Royce automobiles were frequently identical from just after World War II until 2002. The Rolls-Royce radiator monogram's color was changed from red to black in 1933, not as a sign of respect for Royce's passing, as is generally believed, but rather because the crimson occasionally clashed with the coachwork color chosen by customers. The Rolls-Royce Phantom III, which was introduced in the late 1930s, had a V12 engine. This car eventually set numerous new marks and rose to the status of a perfect example of a car at the time. 1945 to 1960, cars made for royalty and world leaders. In 1946, Rolls-Royce and Bentley transferred their automobile manufacturing to Crewe, where they, for the first time, assembled finished vehicles with bodies. In the past, they had just constructed the chassis, leaving the bodywork to expert coach builders. By that point, Rolls-Royce had established itself as the pinnacle of luxury travel for royalty and world leaders. In the 1950s, Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth, a princess at the time, was given a Rolls-Royce Phantom IV. Only 18 Phantom IVs were manufactured for the royals, making them Rolls-Royce's most unique automobiles. However, Rolls-Royce also created model series like the Silver Wraith and Silver Dawn to deal with the Great Depression and changing market conditions. These model series were built with conventional steel bodies and V8 engines, which makes them lighter and quicker. 1960 to 1990, innovating luxury. Rolls-Royce's Silver Cloud model series was outfitted with all the necessary features to keep up with evolving automotive requirements. To lighten the car, an aluminum alloy was used to the body. The 4-speed automatic transmission system, however, was propelled by a more advanced V6 engine. Power steering, a longer wheelbase, and hydraulic assist brakes also define the Silver Cloud. The Silver Shadow 1 and Silver Shadow 2 were launched in 1965 and 1977, respectively. These two models are the most widely produced automobiles in Rolls-Royce's history. These cars had a shorter wheelbase, a 6.2-liter V8 engine, and an automated 4-speed gearbox. Self-leveling air suspension, disc brakes, and an independent rear axle were added for luxury. These features were included in the Phantom 5 as well. 1990 to 2010, continued success with a new owner. Due to major financial difficulties in its aero engine business, Rolls Royce voluntarily entered receivership in 1971 and was later nationalized. After obtaining the trademark for Rolls-Royce's grille and logo, BMW officially began producing Rolls-Royce cars at the beginning of 2003. Rolls-Royce cars had already been using BMW engines and other components for many years. Even with the ownership change, Rolls-Royce successfully maintained its reputation as the best cars in the world. 2010 to present, gas engines and electric-powered vehicles. Rolls-Royce is working to develop more powerful and energy-efficient engines. V12 and V16 engines are often used in the current model series. Rolls-Royce's Phantom 102EX was an electric variant intended for testing. To power the rear wheels, it has 2 electric motors and a huge lithium-ion battery. Rolls-Royce is wholly committed to producing electric vehicles in the future. Regardless the engine type, every car is created with the slightest of details in mind. Because cowhides have pregnancy stretch marks, bull's leather is used by Rolls-Royce to preserve interior opulence and exclusivity. Each upholstered interior of a Rolls-Royce requires the hides of 15 mature bulls. A Rolls-Royce is meticulously handcrafted, taking up to 6 months to complete. With nearly countless customizations, upgrades, and optional extras, it is likely Rolls-Royce will remain on top. This brings us to the end of our video. Do you agree with Rolls-Royce's ultra-high-end niche strategy? Or should they have competed in higher-volume car segments? Thank you for watching our video. Before you head out, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more videos like this one. And before we sign off, here's another interesting business video you might like.